going to Egypt. Of course, this is the sixth story of the six-story series from the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah had been prophet for 40 years. What a horrible time. What a ministry he was given. No wonder he didn't want it at the beginning. But he was a man that was specially chosen for this job, and he did it well. Gedaliah was the governor. Now, what's interesting about him, remember the story about the well of mud when Jeremiah was put down in this well that was down in the mud, and a official of Judah ran to the king and said, "This is not right. We need to get him out of there. He will die down there." King gave him permission to get 30 men, and they pulled him out. And the scripture says that the Lord protected him. After it was all over, God protected Jeremiah, Baruch, and also this man who helped. Well, you'll find it interesting. Gedaliah is his son. So he was rewarded, and his son became the new governor and would have been a good governor. Unfortunately, he only lived for 3 months and ruled for 3 months, but he would have been good. The people really did have it good there. They were told after the governor's death, the Lord told them, "Stay here. Don't go to Egypt." This shows you a God who knows the end from the beginning. He knew what the situation was. Looking back in history, we can clearly see it now. Babylon wasn't going to come back into Judah, waste their time coming back into Judah. They had one goal. Jerusalem was flattened for one reason, to keep them from rebelling so they could get on with the job at hand, and that is conquering Egypt. These people left Judah, where there was now peace, and they went to Egypt, where there would be war. 12 years after they got there, Babylon invaded the land. There was war. There was starvation, hunger. There was plagues, all kinds of things that people truly didn't know what they were doing here. They should have listened to the Lord. There is a tradition that the people that when they knew that Babylon was going to destroy the city and destroy the temple, that they took the Ark of God and hid it. And that when they went to Egypt, they took it with them. So that is a big belief system for people, that the Ark of God is in Egypt someplace. Others hold that it's hidden underneath the temple in one of the caves. I don't know what's true there. Personally, and I don't really know, I think when they burnt the temple, the Ark was burnt as well, and it just doesn't exist anymore. But anyway, I thought you would find that interesting. When the people got to Egypt, they openly state that they worship the Queen of Heaven. Now you have to understand, this is Asherah. For the hundreds of years, the people of the land either worship Jehovah or they worship Baal. Now they also worship other gods, but these two. But the women didn't like those two gods because they were masculine. And they dealt with the men. And women oftentimes they would worship the Lord, but other times they felt that the Lord didn't understand them. So they worship Asherah, which is supposed to be the wife of Baal or the wife of Jehovah. And they had these little idols, and there was the Asherah poles. Well, this is what the Queen of Heaven is. And what they're basically saying to Jeremiah is that, yes, we knew our wives were worshiping the Queen of Heaven. We knew that all along. And not only that, but now they're openly saying, we also worship her. We like her better, and she is the one that we will worship and be like. And so Jeremiah's heart is totally broken because the people don't see you were taken into captivity because of such things. Well, when Persia takes over from Babylon, you have the people now under the world power of Persia. And from that day on, you had two major Jewish populations outside of Judah, in Persia and Egypt. So as we go into the New Testament, we see these two elements. Some hold that the wise men came out of Persia. That's widely held, and that's because that these were actually Jewish wise men from the Jewish population there coming to it. Now, I personally think they came from a different area, which we'll get into later. But that is one belief. The other one is that when Joseph and Mary and Jesus fled Israel and went into Egypt, they were not going to an unknown place. Now, they hadn't been there before, but they were going to Jewish settlements. They were going to a huge Jewish population. As a matter of fact, the largest population outside of Jerusalem was in Egypt. So that all started right here. Well, I trust you've enjoyed this small series of stories from the book of Jeremiah. I hope you understand it a little bit more. This is a major event in the entire Bible, is the going into captivity. And everything for the rest of the Bible, as we go through the rest of the stories, point back to this right here. Join us next week when we continue on with insights of the story of the week. We'll see you next week.